Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another meal prep / batch cooking video. This episode here I'm so excited for because there are a ton of really delicious recipes in this one. So I hope you guys get just as excited about these recipes as I was this week. So hopefully this video inspires and motivates you guys to get in the kitchen and get to cooking for yourself and your family. But let's get started. All right, so we are going to start off this meal prep with cleaning some berries. I like to clean my fruits and vegetables in vinegar water, so I just pour in around 1/4 to 1/3 cup of vinegar in some nice cold water. Today I'm only going to be washing up some berries because that is the fruit that was on sale this week. So I let them soak in that vinegar water for 10 minutes and then I rinse them with clean water and then I put them in a container with a napkin to absorb the rest of the moisture. Next up, I am going to be cooking up some egg bites. We're just doing simple egg bites this week. So it's just going to be spinach egg bites. So I washed and I cut up that spinach and then I put the spinach at the bottom of my silicone cupcake liners. Then I just took 8 eggs, added a little bit of salt into them, as well as some pepper. And then I do add 1/4 cup of heavy whipping cream, and that just makes them a little bit fluffier. And then we just whisk those bad boys up, and then we are going to evenly distribute them between every single one of the cupcake liners. I preheated my oven to 350 degrees, and these took around 20 minutes to cook in my oven. All ovens are different, so definitely check yours around 15-20 minutes. But they came out beautifully. Again, if you want more flavor, you could add some chorizo to these or some sausage, maybe a little bit of cheese, but just keep that in mind. If you want more flavor, add in some extra goodies. Next on the list, we are going to be making keto bagels. I love keto bagels. They're so good. Those are the ingredients that we are going to be using for this recipe. This recipe will be in the description box below. So the first thing I am doing is throwing 2½ cups of mozzarella cheese in that bowl, as well as 2 ounces of cream cheese. We are just going to put that in the microwave and melt that until it's nice and gooey, just like it is there. And then I am going to put in there 1½ cups of almond flour, 1 tablespoon of baking powder, and then I kind of stir that up a little bit first before I add the rest of it. Once that is stirred in just a little bit, then I do go ahead and add in 2 large eggs. Another reason why I do that is because I don't want to add in the eggs while the mozzarella is too hot, because we don't want to cook the eggs because that would be gross. Next up, once it's stirred as much as I can, I go in with my handy dandy hands and I knead the dough. The key to that is keeping your hands wet. I just wet my hands with water and that seems to do just fine. But if you don't do that, the dough is gonna stick to your hands. Then make sure you line your cooking sheet with parchment paper. And the easiest way, in my opinion, to divide out the dough, so this actually only makes 6 servings. I made 8 servings out of it. I just made 8 little mini bagels, but you can make 6 regular size bagels if you want. I was trying to cut down on the macros a little bit, and to be honest with you, 1/8 of a serving of this is quite filling. So I just take a piece of it and I just kind of shape the dough to where it almost looks like a biscuit. Then I just do this fancy thing and I shove my thumb through the middle of it, and then I just shape it into a little bagel. And that works for me. Then once I get all the bagels shaped, then I just take some melted butter and I brush some butter onto the top of the bagels, and then that's when the everything but the bagel seasoning comes in. That stuff is so delicious. I also got out sesame seeds because I wasn't for sure if I was going to have enough of the everything but the bagel seasoning, but I did. I preheated my oven to 400 degrees. And we are just going to cook these until they're kind of slightly browned on the top, just like you see there. In my oven, mine took around 15 minutes. But These are delicious. You could even make bagel sandwiches, breakfast sandwiches, so good. Next up, I have made these before on my channel, but we are going to be doing crock pot chicken wings. This is the easiest way to make chicken wings ever. So literally the only thing that you're gonna do at this time is you're gonna toss those chicken wings into the crock pot, put them on low, let them cook around 6 hours. Once they are finished, we are going to take them out of the crock pot. We are going to soak those chicken wings in some grass-fed butter or whatever butter of choice yours is. And then we're gonna place it on I just use my cookie sheet that I lined with parchment paper, and just line all of them on there. I like to sprinkle that Tony's seasoning on there as well as some Parmesan. Oh boy, were these delicious. Last time I just used salt and pepper with the Parmesan, but oh man, the Tony's, if you try the Tony's on there with the Parmesan, that was a total game changer. So delicious. Add as much Parmesan as you want. Then I just put the oven on broil. I let those broil for like 10 minutes. They came out so delicious. If you want to flip them and broil them again on the other side, you can absolutely do that. These do not last in my house. Everybody eats these so stinking quick. Next on the menu is one of the brand new recipes. This is going to be cheesy jalapeno chicken. Again, this will be in the description box below, the link to this recipe. I am just going to tell you guys before we even start making it, this was delicious. So good. Highly recommend it. It's not going to let you down. And even though this was a one-pot meal as far as how the recipe tells you to cook it, I made it in my Instant Pot and it turned out wonderful. So the first thing we did is we washed our chicken and we put the chicken at the bottom of the Instant Pot. Then next up we are adding 1 tablespoon of butter. Then this recipe did call for chopped up onions. I figured I'd save us some carbs, so we just added in some dry onions. And then same thing, we were supposed to chop up a jalapeno. We kind of went the lazy route and we used jar jalapenos, but you know what? That's okay, because it's all about making our lives easier. So I did put in there 1 teaspoon of minced garlic, as well as 1/4 cup of heavy whipping cream, 1/3 cup of chicken broth, and actually this is Celine making this. She once again is helping me out in the kitchen. Again, I can't say it enough, she's such an amazing kid. I did put in there 2 ounces of cream cheese, as well as 1 cup of shredded cheese. So we are gonna add in there 1 teaspoon of cumin, 1/2 teaspoon of chili powder, 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1/2 teaspoon of sea salt, 1/2 teaspoon of pepper. And then we are going to put the lid on, make sure it's on sealing, put it on manual, and we are going to cook this. I cooked it for around 18 minutes, but then when I opened it up and I tried to, because I was just going to shred the chicken, I tried to shred the chicken and the chicken wasn't quite tender enough. So I did put the lid back on there and I cooked it for about 10 more minutes. And after I cooked it for that 10 more minutes, if you see there, I'm like struggling to shred it because it really wasn't ready yet. But after that 10 more minutes, it shredded just fine. All the flavors just came together. And again, a delicious recipe. The link will be in the description box if you guys want to try it. I hope your family enjoys it as much as ours did. Then I was craving some chicken thighs this week, so I decided I was going to make chicken thighs in the air fryer. Those are just chicken thighs that I get at Costco. So some of them I seasoned with the Tony's, some of them with sea salt, and then all of them I did season with pepper. So I would have a variety of different flavors. I, again, just threw them in the air fryer. I usually just leave them on 400 degrees. And then skin side down, I cook them for about 8 minutes in the air fryer. Then I take them out, I flip them over, and then I put them back in the air fryer Obviously, I season them again on the top. Again, half with sea salt, half with the Tonys, and then all of them with pepper. Then when I put them back in the air fryer, I cook them around 10 minutes on the skin side up, and that usually does the trick. They come out crispy and they almost taste like fried chicken, but without the breading. They are so delicious. My family is not big chicken thigh fans, but they love these. So next we're going to be making bacon wrapped chicken. This is delicious, but so stinking simple. Those are the only ingredients that we're going to need for this. I am just going to slice the chicken lengthwise like that. And I usually cut it around twice, so that way there's 3 lengthwise chickens, kind of like chicken strips. And then super simple, just like it sounds, you just take the bacon and you wrap it around the chicken. Even if it's too loose, it doesn't matter, because when they cook together, the bacon just kind of cooks to the chicken. And I just took a sheet pan and I lined it with parchment paper. Parchment paper, like I say all the time, is life. Once I was done, I added just a little bit of salt. I didn't go too cray on the salt because bacon is very salty. And then, of course, I did add pepper for flavor as well. And I am going to bake this in the oven. So I did preheat my oven to 375 degrees. You could also bake these in the air fryer as well if you wanted to. But I made quite a few of them and it wasn't going to fit all of it at one time in the air fryer, so I decided against that. But when they're about halfway done, a little over halfway done, I flip them over and then I put them back in the oven. And as far as how long you cook it, just kind of watch it. And when the bacon looks pretty done and the chicken looks done, then it's done. I think it took around 25 minutes for mine to cook. Next up, my daughter is just slicing up some vegetables. Right now she's cutting up some broccoli. We're also going to cut up some peppers and clean the seeds out of the peppers real well as we are going to cut up some zucchini because we are going to be making some sheet pan vegetables. This is delicious. I absolutely love vegetables cooked this way because they are so good, especially when you get them a little bit crispy. Oh, cannot get better than that when it comes to cooking your vegetables. After they're all sliced, we just kind of slid them right there into that bowl right from the cutting board, and we are going to put a little bit of avocado oil in there. I would actually add a little bit more avocado oil than what we initially did because we had to go back in there and add a little bit more. But we are also going to season them with some garlic salt. And again, if you guys haven't had sheet pan vegetables, definitely give it a try because it's good. Also going to toss in a little bit of pepper in there, and then we are going to go in with our hands and mix this up. We're going to mix it up really well so that way the oil and all the seasonings are on all the vegetables. Then again with the parchment paper. So I lined another pan with parchment paper. Then Celine just spread the vegetables out as evenly as she could. And then we are going to bake these in the oven. I preheated the oven to 400 degrees. When they came out, I did end up adding some more avocado oil and some more seasoning, but after that, they were perfect. So good. Some of them were nice and crispy. I don't know about you guys, but I love crispy vegetables. Next up, we are going to be making keto chili. Love me some chili. So these are the ingredients that we're going to be using, and I don't really have a recipe for this. This is something that, I just kind of took my old chili recipe before I was keto and kind of pretty much left out the beans. That, and honestly, almost every time I make chili, I change it up anyway. Like this time, I'm going to throw in there a green pepper because I needed to use it up. And I'm just using my handy dandy chopper there. I love that thing. I will have that in the description box as well if you guys are interested in which one I use. As well as a yellow onion. That was around 1/4 of a yellow onion that I'm going to be putting in there as well. I always say parchment paper is life in the kitchen. Well, I'm really finding out that so is that chopper. That saves me so much time. But I threw in that pot around 2 pounds of ground beef, the onions, the green peppers, garlic, 2 cans of Rotel, and then green chilies. I threw in there 1 can of green chilies, and also around a cup of bone broth, but I did go back in there and add some more bone broth, a little bit of salt, a tablespoon of chili powder, a half a tablespoon of cumin, and then I just stirred that all up. And that ended up being just a little bit too thick, so I went back in and added another around a half a cup of bone broth, and that ended up making it perfect. I mean, if you like your chili super, super thick, then obviously do it the way that you want, but that is how I decided to do it, and that was the end result. So delicious, so good. Add yourself a tablespoon of daisy and some cheddar cheese, and it is perfect. All right, so we are moving on to the dessert. So we're making chocolate chip cookie dough brownies. So the part of the recipe that I'm making right now is the brownie part. So this is going to be the bottom layer, but I put 3/4 cup of butter in that bowl, as well as 4 ounces of, it says 85% or unsweetened chocolate. I decided to go with the milk chocolate lilies, but you can use whatever you want. Again, this is a brand new recipe, and I will have the link in the description box below. But I put that in the microwave, and I melted the butter and the chocolate together, and then I just mixed that up. And then in a different bowl, we are going to add together 1/4 cup of sweetener. Then we're gonna add in the butter and the chocolate that we melted in the microwave. Then I went in and I stirred those ingredients together before I added everything else. Then after that, you're going to want to add in 3 eggs. Then we're also going to put in there 1 teaspoon of vanilla. That was actually a half a teaspoon. That's why you saw me put in 2 of those. Then we're going to add a mix of different flours. So we're going to put in there 2 tablespoons of coconut flour, 2 tablespoons of flax meal, and then 2 tablespoons of almond flour. We are going to mix that up, and that is all the ingredients that we are going to use in the brownie mix, except for if you want to add chocolate chips into that brownie mix as well. I didn't add very many just because it's super chocolatey already. Then I just took my 8x8-inch pan. I did grease my pan with grass-fed butter, and then I poured the batter into that pan, and then I also preheated my oven to 350 degrees. So you're gonna want the brownies to cook in the oven for 30 to 35 minutes. Mine took 35 minutes exactly. So while those baked, I went ahead and prepared the top layer of the brownies, which is the cookie dough part of the recipe. So I already put in that bowl 1 cup of almond flour. I measured out on my scale 1 ounce of cream cheese, 1/4 cup of sweetener of your choice. I did throw in there 1 teaspoon of coconut flour, 1 teaspoon of vanilla. It calls for 1 teaspoon of molasses, but I used 1 teaspoon of sugar-free syrup instead, and that worked out just fine. And then also 4 tablespoons of softened butter. I melted mine in the microwave just for a little bit because it was right out of the fridge, so it was a little bit hard. And then I just mixed all of this up, and then I threw the remaining chocolate chips that was left in that Lily's bag in the cookie dough portion of this. And if you want, you could put this in the refrigerator until the brownies are done, and then that is what the brownies look like when they come out of the oven. Can I just tell you guys, this was delicious. I even had some of my coworkers try this. I took some to work, and they loved this. Even my non-keto coworkers loved this. So that is a win-win, because you can't always win over non-keto fellows. So I obviously just took the cookie dough portion of the recipe and just layered it right on top of the brownies. And that was the end result. Again, this will be in the description box below. Definitely try this. It makes 16 servings, but that 1/16 of a serving is just enough to tame down that sweet tooth. So that will conclude this week's meal prep / batch cooking video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope this gave you some new recipe ideas, and definitely go try those brand new recipes because they're delicious. Again, the recipe links will be in the description box. Just click that link, it'll take you right to the recipes, and you can find all the ingredients and measurements there. Do me a favor, if you like this type of video, give it a huge thumbs up. Also, if you're not part of the Simply Misty family, definitely smash that subscribe button because I would love to have you as part of my YouTube family. And if you decide to make anything in this meal prep, I will also have my Instagram link in the description box below. Go follow me on Instagram. Tag me on Instagram on what you are making. Tag me and let me know if you made any of these recipes and if you liked them. I love to see what you guys are meal prepping. I love to hear what you guys are meal prepping. And I love to hear what you guys think of these recipes. But for now, I think that's all I have for you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate every single one of you guys. And don't forget to go out there and make today even better than yesterday. And I'll talk to you in my next video. Bye. On my own, but I don't know why you hit the but you don't realize I won't look back when you're around.